Yeah, you know what this reminds me of? The tutorial where you had to get past those automated guns? Alt. Welcome back to another Helldivers 2 video, and it's been only a day since we've received our current major order, which has presented us with the opportunity to choose which new stratagem we get to add to our arsenal. Well, despite the launcher being an obvious community favorite, I have to say it's a pity that we've never gotten the chance to really have a race between two planets, because the planet that would have granted us the anti-tank mines was locked behind another planet needing to be liberated first, while Penta, giving us the launcher, was wide open and already at 90% liberated this morning. Nonetheless, we're going to be taking a look at the RL-77 Airburst rocket launcher, which is already available for unlocking because you guys really pushed hard and Penta has already been liberated. So straight away you'll notice that this is a support weapon setup similar to the autocannon, having a dedicated backpack along with the launcher itself. Now it provides a total of 6 shots out of the box with 5 reloads in the backpack. After firing you can reload it yourself, although that takes quite a bit of time, leaving you vulnerable for a good 5 seconds. If you happen to run out of rockets at some point, resupplying yourself works with ammo packs found on the map, giving you 1 rocket per ammo pack that you pick up. Getting a pack from the resupply pod gives you 3 missiles, so if you pick up 2 then you'll be fully stocked. Just don't forget to reload first before picking up that second pack so you don't waste 1 rocket. Alright, now on to the combat performance, and this is where things get really interesting really fast, because this weapon has a huge AoE. Now of course that only makes sense being an anti-air burst weapon, but used against ground targets these rockets are like cluster bombs. Now as you would have guessed, it does great against patrols of light and medium armored targets. Medium ones do have to get really close to one of the clusters to be destroyed straight away, but light ones won't stand a chance. Then of course comes the reloading, so depending on what difficulty you're playing, you might be forced to quickly switch to your primary or a stratagem to take care of other more heavily armored enemies. Now straight away there's a huge drawback about this weapon, and that's the insane spread of the cluster munition. This weapon will require some getting used to, because when the rocket explodes after you fire it, it tends to vary from time to time. As you can see here, I tested to see over what range it would explode on its own, and it has a really long range. It doesn't go off when it gets too close to objects such as this tree here. I can shoot through its leaves just fine. But in combat testing, more than once did I manage to blow myself and teammates up because it seemed to detonate only a few yards away. Sorry guys, if you're watching this and you were on this mission with me, know that I love you guys, and it was all in the name of liberty and managed democracy, of course. Now this is a new weapon, and usually what happens when we get one, people start wondering how many purposes does this weapon have beside the obvious shooting down aerial units in this case. Well, turns out you cannot destroy a fabricator with it, as the rocket itself will do almost none or 0 damage. So aiming directly at Devastators or Berserkers won't kill them by the rocket's impact. That'll have to be done by the cluster munition. This also means that, because of the damage being spread out, that it doesn't pack enough of a concentrated punch to take out cannon towers, hulks or tanks, even if you hit them directly on their generators. And as I said before, since those are heavily armored targets, you can shoot at them all day long all you want with this weapon, but they won't be destroyed by it. As for our Terminate friends, unfortunately you cannot close a bug hole with it either. It'll do massive damage to simple patrols, but don't expect to go soloing higher difficulty missions with just this weapon, as it is totally powerless against Chargers and Ball Titans. Now, some of the secondary objectives that you can normally handle from a distance with an autocannon or an EAT-17 can also be handled by the Airburst launcher. However, since it lacks the ability to destroy hives and fabricators, this weapon kind of feels to me like a downgrade in certain situations. What I noticed a lot when firing at patrols and then checking which enemies died or not, sometimes I found even scavengers or troopers had survived, which turns out has everything to do with the randomly distributed explosions within the area of effect. Now at times this will result in some pretty ineffective shots. And this is the first weapon in Helldivers 2 that I've used where I'm constantly thinking like, oh, maybe I shouldn't use this right now because there's a good chance I'll kill somebody else with it. For this weapon, more than with others, I feel that the map determines for me whether I select it or not. Now, open maps with good lines of sight will obviously get the most out of it. Anything with lots of rocks, trees, hills, rock formations, outhouses, anything that will increase the chance of this weapon killing you instead of the enemy will make this weapon's application very narrow. Oh, and I almost forgot, you also cannot take down dropships with it. Maybe with multiple shots, but that would have to be you and somebody else firing at the same time because you wouldn't be able to reload fast enough to get off another shot before it drops its troops. And maybe there's an element of luck attached to this weapon when it comes to heavier armored units, automatons with power cells, you know, that segment. Because I haven't seen it so far in my testing, but maybe you every so often manage to kill a tank with it because of one of the secondary explosions hitting it square on a soft spot. But that far from justifies picking this weapon over a quasar or even a laser cannon for that matter. Now, players better than myself will probably find a better use for the weapon, but so far I don't believe this will replace any of the support weapon picks most people choose right now. But then again, I can't deny it never gets old of firing it and then having a whole bunch of explosions going off. So now you hopefully know what to expect when you're considering spending 8,000 requisition points to unlock this weapon. If you've enjoyed watching, consider subscribing to support the channel and not miss out on any more sci-fi gaming content in the future. For now, enjoy playing Helldivers and see you in the next one.